Chris Hardwick, welcome to this series, Leadership in Crisis. You're going to be about our 10th or 11th interview so far, and already in the course of doing this, I've gone from hearing from people who are going, oh my gosh, the world is entirely falling apart, to, okay, there's a variety of things that we can do to stabilize, and then we can look for opportunities. And you've got a list. I met you by seeing an article that you posted online on LinkedIn, and I went, oh my gosh, I really like the way that you've laid out how we need to address this, and then what opportunity does this provide for us to be innovative and move forward. So with your permission, I wouldn't mind starting with, what do you see as the essential things that a leader needs to do to help their team remain confident that we can all get through this?
Yeah, I believe that leaders have, first of all, they need to not panic. They need to demonstrate to their employees, their family, and their friends that everything is going to be okay and we're going to get through this together. It never ceases to amaze me how impressive the human race is at rallying to support and help one another. However, I think that leaders have to lead by example. They have to not panic. They have to go ahead, I guess, and pave the way for other people to follow. So I think that's the most important responsibility of a leader, is to lead by example, not panic, make sure everybody's safe, and then look at opportunities to thrive.
You know, just as you're saying that, I'm reminded of a conversation that I recorded about a month and a half ago with an Inuit leader, Silawat Kloche, and she was talking about life in the Arctic. And she said, when you panic when you're in the cold, you're going to die. And this is exactly where we find ourselves right now, in very, very cold environment, and we cannot afford to panic.
Yeah, and as somebody who does a lot of mountaineering and has gotten himself into a lot of difficult and extreme situations throughout the course of my life, I can definitely agree with her that that's one of the most important things that we can do as a leader of a team, is to not panic, really. That is so crucial.
You know, second on your list, I saw that you said, do not lay people off. And of course, there was this tremendous rush to lay people off. In some industries, you say, well, you have no choice. I understand that. But where possible, you want to be able to hang on to that talent. Why is that so important?
Well, I think, first of all, that this whole offering of immediate EI and making it a little bit too easy for employers to lay people off, let alone how the heck we're going to pay for all of this and how many generations to come are going to be paying for all of these handouts. I think that it's a little counterintuitive to just lay people off. I mean, here's a perfect opportunity to do all of that training we've been wanting to do, job sharing, reskilling. There's fantastic opportunity here now to be working with our employees. But most of all, again, we're going to get through this. This is a pandemic. This is a fact of life. We have pandemics. We've had them throughout our history as a species, humankind. And we need to be ready to rebound as we come out of this. This is just another economic cycle that we're going through. The last time it was the stock market. This time it's COVID-19. We're going to come out of this. And the companies that retain their employees are going to be 6 to 9 months ahead of the curve on their competitors who lay everybody off and now have to go out and retrain, so rehire, retrain, reskill. So it takes a lot of time to do that. And you're going to be behind the competition. You're going to be behind everybody else. So I really strongly believe in a term that I heard recently from Dr. Gustavo Granitsky. He's one of our speakers, and he spoke about this concept of social capitalism. And social capitalism, for me, is being a capitalist company, capitalism, however, treating your employees and your people with a social mandate. And so by keeping your employees, keeping them employed, I mean, this is the thing, again, as a leader, we have to lead by example. If everybody else is laying everybody else off, and you're the one that is keeping your employees employed, people won't forget that, whether they're your current employees or whether they're prospective candidates and prospective employees. They're going to remember that you were the company that found a workaround. You were the company who focused on helping your employees, not just tossing them out like the garbage.
You know, as you're saying that, I interviewed Andrew Petter, the president at Simon Fraser University, last week, talking about this very issue. And and I can tell that it was a matter of pride for him and for the university that they have not laid anybody off. Because one of the other components that he pointed out is that we need to have people working in this environment because they're going to have money to spend. And having money to spend as the economy starts to ramp back up will become vitally important. So the more people we can keep working, the more money we make sure is in circulation in the economy. And so I think that that's one of the additional benefits to keeping people working. You're helping to create an environment that hopefully is going to then want to buy more of your services. In your next point, you talk about get prepared to be disrupted in your sector.
Yeah, again, I mean, I guess it's just the way I'm wired, Stuart. Whenever I experience an issue or a challenge or a problem, I can't help but jump straight to how can we learn from this? How can we turn this around? Because I believe every issue is an opportunity in waiting. So when you look at what is happening today, what a perfect opportunity to force yourself to pivot your business right now, right today. Not a week from now or 2 weeks or 3 months or 6 months from now, but let's pivot our businesses today. Let's challenge ourselves to explore what opportunities are out there. And so I can tell you 4 of my clients in the last 3 days, actually over the course of the weekend, are retooling their businesses and they're out there spraying. Like these are landscapers, these are lawn care companies, these are restoration companies. These are companies that have experienced a sudden downturn in work and have now replaced that and are now building new divisions within their company to go out and to provide a service that is absolutely necessary today. It's not a service they were providing a week ago, but it's a service they're providing today. And that happened just over the course of the weekend.
Isn't it remarkable that opportunities just pop up?
Well, I don't think they pop up. I think the difference to be a successful leader is to identify those opportunities and to go after them and not tell yourself, oh, we don't do that or we don't know how to do that. Figure it out. You know, again, here's an opportunity where your employees, they don't want to be at home getting 55% of their income. They want to be working. They want to be going to work. And as long as they're safe and they're being looked after and there's no risk of them getting sick, and you put the appropriate systems and processes and protocols in place, then there's no reason why you can't be out there creating a new business opportunity.
You know, next on your list, you talk about money. One, you say jettison expenses that you don't need to keep. But if you identify an opportunity, don't be afraid to borrow money because money's cheap right now.
Yeah, there's 2 things around that. There's a lot of people who have got these big offices that are sitting empty at the moment. Let's talk about let's talk about downsizing. Let's talk about not only deferring those leases, but let's pull those lease agreements out and see how we can exit those. Because maybe we don't need that big office all of a sudden. Maybe now that we've retooled our workforce and everybody's working at home, we don't need that big office. So that's an opportunity. Equipment. How many people have got equipment sitting idle at the moment? Whether it's trucks, it's pickup trucks, it's vans, whatever it is. How many people are on vehicle allowances? Well, have a look at what your pay structure is for your employees, your sales teams and everybody else. Maybe they're all working from home now. Maybe they're making all their sales calls from home. Well, you don't need to be paying for that truck. Put storage insurance on it. Park it. cancel the Chevron gas cards. Sorry, not Chevron, somebody else's. One of my
Right.
clients owns a few Chevron gas stations.
They're
But
not going to like that.
Petrocan, Esso, Shell, whatever. But my point is, look for where you can cut costs. But don't cut costs in areas that are important. I was interviewed in a podcast last week from a guy who owns a marketing company. And he was asking me, what do you think we should be doing with respect to marketing right now? We should be amping up our marketing spend. We should be telling the world that we're open for business, that we're pivoting our business. And hey, if you got laid off and you're looking for a job, give us a call. Again, we need to be taking a contrarian position if we want to get through this and thrive. You mentioned a second part of your question, and that was around money.
Yes.
Money is cheap. It's the cheapest it's been. Back in 2008, when I launched my last group of companies, it was cheap. And they were throwing money at me. So I encourage you, if you've got an operating facility, if you've got a line of credit, get in touch with your bank manager today. Get it increased, get it extended. You've been around, you're a successful business. Banks are looking to lend. Banks are still in business. So take that opportunity to increase your cash reserves. By the way, that's another thing. You need to get on the phone. You need to be pounding your AR right now. Get that AR in, because people are going to stop and they're going to use all kinds of excuses. They won't be using the checks in the mail excuse. They're going to be using, we sent home our entire administration team and we can't cut your check. Get on your AR. Get cash in the door. Increase your borrowing limits. The banks and the governments are going to be lenient on you. Defer payments, defer your mortgages, defer your taxes, defer everything possible. Improve your cash position and use that cash to fund marketing around the pivot on your business. Maybe there's an acquisition opportunity out there you've been looking at. It's time to pick up the phone and give them a call. They've probably been through enough of these pandemics and crashes that maybe that guy's ready to sell his business and you can do a quick deal. Maybe there's a piece of equipment that you've been looking at bringing in over the last couple of years and, you just couldn't afford to buy it. What a great time. I bet that vendor is probably going to be so happy to sell that. He'll probably offer you some really good terms. Take this opportunity to pivot your business and grow.
I also can't help but think to a point that you were making earlier, you're now looking around going, I got a bunch of empty office space. Am I going to need this in the future? I think that there's going to be an awful lot of rewriting of commercial leases and then creative ways of getting through this. One of the people that I interviewed last week was John Neat of JJ Bean, and he's got 26 different facilities, and he's going, okay, as of April 1st, I've got $260,000 in rent payments that I have to make. How am I going to make that up when I've been mandated closed by health authorities because I'm in the coffee shop business? And, just to show how leaders think, he goes, okay, he starts phoning landlords, and not all of them have picked up on this, but he says, look, when I signed this lease, you took a first month and a last month as a deposit, and that money's just sitting there. Yep. Use that as my rent payment for the next month or two. And then that helps him get through, and it becomes inexpensive money that he gets to use to ride this out. I thought it was a brilliant idea.
What I don't understand is why he can't continue to operate that business. Why he can't do it in who do my kids use all the time?
Skip the dishes or whatever.
Skip the dishes.
Yeah.
Skip the dishes. Uber Eats. Why can't you get that coffee delivered? Why can't you continue to operate? I know one of my friends, the Boulevard restaurant here in Vancouver, they just reopened last week. Gourmet 5-star meals. The chef is absolutely incredible. They're now offering incredible 5-star meals delivered to your home. I think that's fantastic. They were shut down. They reopened, and now they've got their kitchen operating with all of the appropriate protection and everything in place for their employees and their clients. But they're continuing to operate. Why can't JJ Bean still be making coffee? Why can't they be doing takeouts?
Well, they are. They are,
Okay,
and
great.
John being innovative, I'm sure he's working his way through all these things. When I interviewed him, it was like right at the beginning of this, and so he was dealing with his most pressing cash need, and so that's what we discussed. To give him full credit, he's probably working his way through all these different options because, like you, he's looking for how do we get through this? Because there has to be an after. And if we don't
Yeah.
keep our eye on that possibility and retain as many of the talented people that you need to make sure that you are operational, then it gets really hard. The back end or the tail of this gets longer and longer.
Yeah. One of my kids was working for a while last year. I don't remember the name of the business, but he rides his bicycle around delivering stuff downtown. It's a bit like Uber Eats. You can just log on. He's got his bike. John could get a bunch of his employees who like to ride bikes, and you could probably have them running around town delivering coffees on their bikes.
Right.
Anyway, I don't know if that's going to upset the government or whatever, but there's all kinds of ways in which you can try and create a workaround, right? It's about hacking the system. How can you hack your own business? How can you disrupt yourself? And that was my point around disruption. What better opportunity to look at your own business and go, look, things are never going to be the same. We're not just going to wait 3 months and then everyone's going to magically go back to the way they used to do business. Maybe there's an opportunity here to reinvent ourselves as business owners and businesses as a whole so that we never go back to how it was, that we actually create a new business opportunity around the way we are now running our businesses so that when things do get back to normal, we're going back to normal, but we've also got this additional business that we've created that can continue to function. Because my guess is there's a lot of people that are going to stay at home. They're going to continue to work from home even after this pandemic is over. So my point is that part of the retooling that is happening in all industries at the moment is going to continue beyond this pandemic. And that's the disruption opportunity in businesses. How can we be looking at our businesses? How can we be looking from the outside in and going, what is it about our business that we need to disrupt? How can we disrupt ourselves? How can we change the way we do business forever? That's the opportunity.
Are you familiar with the book Antifragile?
No, I'm not, but I will add it to my book list right now. Antifragile. Who is the author?
I wish I could tell you off the top of my head his name. He is of Lebanese descent, and I will get the pronunciation of his name wrong. He also wrote Black Swan. But in Antifragile, he talks about the fact that antifragility is way beyond resilience. Resilience is bouncing back. Antifragility is that you get stronger with every hit you take. And this is what we're talking about. So you take a glass, you throw it on the ground and it breaks, that's fragile. But if you have a glass that you throw on the ground and it bounces back, and when it comes back, that shock has made it stronger, that's being anti-fragile. And this is what the leaders who are looking for innovation, who are looking for ways through, become. They become resistant to fragility. And they then lead the companies that, as you have described, will change the way in which we do business.
I think that the people that have been around the block for a while and have lived and worked through and survived and come out the other side stronger and better for it. Look, with age comes wisdom, and really what is wisdom? It's just you've had more experiences than other people, really. You've maybe made more mistakes, you've had more failure in your life. And it's the sum total of all of those challenges and mistakes and issues and screw-ups that make us who we are today. Having been through a few of these economic downturns before, like, back in the dot-com era and the 90s and, the previous viruses and 2008 and 2009 with the H1N1, like, you kind of get a little bit hardened, I guess, by the things that you did and maybe the mistakes that you made. You grow from that. And you become less fragile, absolutely. For me, it's my skin's grown a bit thicker. I don't have thin skin anymore, right? You get pretty thick skin, all right? You're able to take a few beatings and you just get back up again. Kind of reminds me of one of those things you used to box when you were a kid and they keep bouncing up all the time. I think as entrepreneurs and as leaders, we are constantly getting knocked down and we just get back up. We get knocked down and we get back up again. And that's what this is about. It's just continuing to get up and go again, whether it's the glass metaphor and the glass bouncing back. I'm still having difficulty imagining a glass bounce back, but maybe it's a stronger glass, you know. The thing is that how do we learn from this? How do we bounce back stronger? How do we become more resilient? I love that word. And a lot of it is just from experience. So if you don't have the experience yourself, take the opportunity to learn from the experience of others around you.
So in your final point, you say take care of yourself, look after your health. Physically, absolutely. But I also, in reading that, see that you stress that you want to make sure that you're looking after your mental well-being, that you're remaining optimistic and forward thinking, because that plays an important role in your health as well.
Yeah, mindset is so crucial. So many people have a fixed mindset, and they've got an event planned on the weekend for a barbecue, and it rains, and their world comes to an end. It's like, it's the weather. You can't control the weather. Roll with it. Either order a tent and continue, whether it's a big wedding or whatever the event is, just adjust. But the one thing that I like to stress is not to worry about things that you have no control over. I mean, we have no control over this pandemic breaking out. It's here. The sooner we just accept the fact that it's here, the better. It's what are we going to do with it? How are we going to react to it? Are we going to sit around and, stressing and moping about it? Are we going to get depressed? Are we going to get anxious? Are we going to get stressed? How's that going to benefit us? It's not going to benefit us at all. So we need to accept the fact that there's a pandemic here and it's going to kill some people. And we're going to do the very best we can to keep ourselves safe, our families safe, our friends safe, and our employees safe, and our suppliers and clients and everybody else around us. We're going to focus first on keeping people safe. But we're not going to just crawl into a turtle shell and, stick our head in the sand or hide and pretend that this is all just going to blow away. We're going to, this is the opportunity to look at how can we be a part of the solution. What are the things that we can be doing to help other people? What are the things that we can be doing to accelerate the turnaround? I love what Dyson's doing and Musk is doing, right? They've converted their factories into designing and building ventilators. They're taking steps to do it. There's companies. I just saw another one, a guy locally here who's just in a 3D scanning and 3D printing for a mask, and he shared the software for that. If you own a 3D printer at home, you can download his software and start cranking out masks. Okay, These are people that are taking an initiative to create solutions that are going to help people stay safe, and those that get sick are going to help them get access to a ventilator so they don't die, so they recover. And so I love seeing business owners and business leaders getting out there and creative solutions to help end the pandemic, to help ease the pain, to help reduce the risk of people getting sick. Just like some of the companies I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, some of my clients who are now out there spraying and cleaning down facilities at night. They've gotten access to a new product, they've got the equipment, they've got the backpack pumps. They're taking steps to be part of the solution. And so what can all of us be doing to be a part of the solution here? What are the things that we can be doing to help others around us, to help reduce infection, and to help the speed of recovery? So I'm just constantly racking my brain to think of the things that I can be doing. And one of those is to help business owners not lay people off, not shut down their companies, not expect to get a government handout, but to actually look for creative ways that they can continue to operate, pivot their businesses, grow and thrive in these difficult times. That's the opportunity.
And that's what leadership is about. Chris Hardwick, thank you very much for sharing your insights and your optimism and enthusiasm about the future. It's not going to be easy. It will be hard work. But if we remain focused on a positive outcome where it is possible and where it seemed impossible before, I think collectively we will get through this.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It was great to chat with you, Stuart.
And likewise, thank you.